Aloha guys, back again with another FSD video. Elon says we can text now, so let's put that to the test. We're gonna go to the Whole Foods parking garage, and on the way we should get some city mixed with highway and then city after that again. And I kind of want to talk about just my thoughts on the texting and driving, and like, is that actually something that's good, or maybe it's not so good, We're going to kind of go through it here. So a little bit of traffic as we come out of this parking lot. Good to go now. All right, and we're on our way. So right here, we're in a neighborhood. There's a bicycle in front of us. So I'm going to pull out my phone. And matter of fact, for this, I'm gonna take off my sunglasses because I want to be sure both the Tesla and you guys can see my eyes and where I'm looking. So I'm looking straight ahead right now, and boom, down to my phone. And I think that the texting and driving is okay in low risk kind of scenarios. Stop traffic things. Ooh, it feels very unnatural. So I felt some braking and I wanted to look up. I may have even slightly looked up a little bit, and I saw the blue alert there asking for me to pay attention to the road already. So I'm going to do my best to just stay looking down, but it feels very unnatural just knowing that like I'm in the driver's seat and I'm not paying attention to where I'm moving. Pedestrian crossing here, I'm going to go ahead and just look down at my phone, see what the car does. But as I was saying, I think using FSD is pretty reliable in low risk scenarios, like when you're stopped in traffic or at low speeds, maybe no one else is around, things like that. So I think being able to quickly respond. All right, so I got an alert there. That was probably about maybe 10 seconds or so. Being able to respond to a text, or maybe you're on your way to work and people are asking you questions or something, that is an added value proposition, I think, to FSD. And that helps make it a little bit more worth it, because now, yes, you're still responsible, just like you're still responsible for wearing your seatbelt and going the speed limit, but it allows you to quickly do what you need to do in 5 to 10 seconds and then focus back on the road again. And I think that relaxing of the nag is really beneficial. We know the system is safer than human driving. The stats show that it's many times over safer than human driving. And as a matter of fact, it's been way relaxed because this whole time I've been holding my phone, and as long as I'm looking forward, it seems like the car doesn't care if I'm holding anything indefinitely. Now looking down, like in a situation like this where we're stopped at a red light, before and always, since we've had the attention monitoring, it's been okay at a red light to, kick back, relax, look at your phone, whatever. So this is not really anything new, but being able to actually drive around and look at your phone is new. I can tell you, using it and really focusing in the last couple of days to try and wrap my head around it, it feels very unnatural. Like it reminds me of the way I felt the first time I used FSD, where I was just so unsure, like, whoa, the car's moving, I'm not in control. It was that kind of feeling with the looking down at my phone while the car is moving. So through this whole video, I'm going to kind of naturally, as I might if I was doing things on my phone while driving, I'm going to look down and just see how the system responds. In my experience so far, it doesn't let you look down for very long at high speeds, like 60 plus. Even if there's no one around, which is, I would have thought it would, at 60 plus with no one around, even though you're moving very fast, the risk is lower than city driving, in my mind. But it seems to be more strict at 60 plus, and also definitely at lower speeds, like 20 to 30 with people around. So as we get on the highway here, we're merging. Going back to talking about FSD being safer than humans, I think that because it's safer than humans, the brief use of your phone, how much risk does that actually add? Like, we already know it's way safer than human driving. So what's 10 seconds here or there? Now, the argument to that is 10 seconds at 50 miles an hour, that's you're moving several hundred feet, right? Like, you're going pretty far in that time, and who knows what could happen in that time. But the reliability of the system has proven to be really good, and I think that this is a uncomfortable but necessary step towards another level of autonomy. I think as we move into letting go of more and more, it's really important for the system to build trust with us, because everyone is used to driving their entire lives, right? So we need to trust that the system can handle all situations. And I do think that being able to do brief things like look down at your phone, shoot somebody a text real quick, and then boom, back up at the road. You do that enough times, you're going to get comfortable with it. Just like you did when you started using FSD, and maybe it felt uncomfortable at first, but now you're struggling to stay awake in the driver's seat because it's just so relaxing to just sit here and kind of zone out at the road. I think this is going to become like that. I think people won't even think about it. Oh yeah, I got a text, boom, 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 do what I need to do, bam, back to the road. Will people find ways to abuse it? I'm sure they will. That's just in our nature. I will say that if you really want to, here, I'll model this for you. So this is a great scenario. We got traffic kind of all around us at this point. So if I were here, and let's say I was just scrolling Facebook or Instagram or whatever, I'm looking down. The system is so good at tracking your eyes now that even if you just look up for a split second and then you can look back down, you can just keep doing that indefinitely. And this feels like a really long time. Like, I'm starting to get uncomfortable not knowing where I'm going and where the cars are around us. But this is where the car, I would think this is an unsafe situation, but you can see how much longer we're able to go without the nag than we were in the neighborhood with not as many people around us. This has got to be over 20 seconds now. This feels very unnatural and uncomfortable. We're still going. Okay, I see some blue, right? So boom, I'm up, back down. So you satisfy the nag by looking up, and then you're back down to your phone. And I think that is a way that some people might abuse it. I think it's impressive though that the car is able to track your eye movements that reliably. I can't stress enough how unnatural it feels to be on your phone for this long. But you do it enough times, it's going to build trust. However, driving is dangerous. Anything can happen at any time, right? We all know this. Debris in the road, somebody falls asleep, car comes out of nowhere, pedestrian jumps out from behind something. That's where the reaction time of FSD version 14 comes in. That's where it really needs to pull out all the stops to keep you and everyone else around you safe. But ultimately, I, as the driver, am still responsible. So you should only do what you're comfortable with. I do want to point out, though, in the release notes, let me pull it up on my phone so I can quote it exactly here for you. In the release notes of 14.2.1, it does say, let's see here, does not make your vehicle autonomous. Do not become complacent. And I see that kind of it's kind of in conflict with the texting and driving, like being able to look down at my phone while the car is maneuvering through traffic. Like, I don't know how long we just went in the traffic back there, but it felt like a very long time. Super uncomfortable, just, I guess, because I'm not used to it, and also it just feels wrong to essentially be that probably 1,000 feet down the road, and I didn't see any of it. But that, to me, you get used to it, like I'm saying, just like with FSD. You get used to texting and driving, or scrolling and driving, whatever you're doing. You do that enough, what else is that than complacency? But then the release notes say, do not become complacent. So, I don't know, I see that as a direct conflict. That said, I mean, it's kind of like, I see this kind of like drunk drivers, right? No one should be driving intoxicated. But if there were a situation where you had someone and they had the choice of being in the driver's seat drunk with FSD turned on versus someone manually driving drunk, which one is safer? FSD for sure. Like, again, no one should be driving drunk. Will people drive drunk? Yes. People do it every day. And that's always going to be a thing. But if they're going to do it, which they shouldn't, I would rather FSD be in control than the drunk human. And I kind of see it as the same thing with texting. People are glued to their smartphones nowadays, right? So if people are going to be doing this, scrolling Instagram, scrolling Facebook, X, whatever, texting, I would rather FSD be in control and driving safely than someone manually trying to drive with one arm and text with the other and glance up and, they're only half present. FSD is present times like 7 or however many cameras we have on the cars now at all times, whether you're looking down or not. And its performance is unaffected by whether you're looking down or not. I do think supervision is still important at the stage we are, right? Because there are edge cases. There's edge cases that, the car needs to learn how to handle very quickly, like in a split second. And now we have the reaction time where we've gotten to the point where all the fundamentals of driving are down and they're just so solid, but we need to use those and apply them to, edge cases where you're driving and a truck next to you, the tire blows up and hits your passenger side door. Or maybe you're driving and somebody just cuts right into your lane at 70 miles an hour. Like, I don't know, anything could happen. Your tire could pop. You could hit a nail. The other day I saw an umbrella blowing across the highway. Like, there's just so many things that could go wrong, and even if FSD hasn't seen that exact scenario before, it needs to be able to handle it. But we need to know, and the regulators, NHTSA for sure, needs to know that the system can handle that consistently in a safe manner, both for the driver in the vehicle and for all the other drivers around it and pedestrians. And that's kind of the other, it's not a problem, but it's a concern that I have. I'm going to throw us into Mad Max, see if maybe it'll decide to go around these cars. That's a concern that I have, that NHTSA was already kind of on our backs about Mad Max, right? And in the past, they've been on our backs about the going to 0 miles an hour at stop signs and things like that, because it's technically the rule, right? Do we need this attention on us now? right? Like, it's important for us to push forward. It's important for us to move on, but I mean, it's only common sense that NHTSA is not going to like it when Elon's over here telling Tesla drivers with FSD, yeah, go ahead and text and drive. Or, excuse me, you can text and drive. The system allows you to text and drive, right? I don't know. It's just one of those things that I hear sirens. I don't think it's behind us. Oh, it's up there. Okay. It's just one of those things that, you know, do we need the negative attention in their eyes? Negative. I don't know, but just something to consider. So yeah, with the complacency, you know, I just find that interesting that the texting, it builds trust. In one of my past videos, I was talking about how you build trust with the system. This is one way, but at the same time, just in general, if you're building trust with a technology, like, is part of building trust at a certain point, you do become complacent. That's like the whole point of trust, right? Like, you trust it to do the right thing. Okay, take it. And you're just like complacent with it until something happens. And then now you're like, you know, it's like if FSD curves your tire, you better be sure I'm going to be looking at that camera like a hawk every single time we take a turn, you know, because I don't trust you anymore. I'm not complacent. I haven't had Tesla curb my tires ever. So I'm complacent in that, but I know other people that are super concerned with it. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Trust, complacency, how do those relate? Are the release notes in conflict with, you know, the statement that we're now allowed to text and drive? I do think, like I said earlier, like in my daily life, that texting and driving on the way to work in particular, for brief stints, has actually been useful. Because if someone needs to get a hold of me, yes, it can wait. But in a work situation, like, it's just relieves the heat off of me when I get in and 5 people are looking for me, if I can just satisfy all of them right now on the way to work. Yes, back of the road. No, back of the road. I'll be there in 5 minutes, and then when I get there, you know, I can talk to them then. I could send a voice note. Any number of scenarios, just giving you that little bit amount of time really is useful. Now, the thing is, I don't know how this could happen, but let's say there's a crash on FSD, and it was found out somehow. I don't know if they can tell through the cameras, or maybe an outside camera from somewhere picks it up. Let me make sure I have parking garage set. Okay, no option for parking garage. Let me see. You know what? We're just going to leave it. We're going to see what it does. And they see that you're texting, or your phone is up like this and you're looking down. Boom, you got in a crash. Maybe you have a green light, right? You're going through this intersection just like this. It's a green light, and somebody else ran the red light and T-boned you. And you traffic-wise did nothing wrong. But that camera saw you up with your phone. That you just opened yourself up to, like, so much legal ambiguity. Like, maybe, like, oh, well, if you weren't looking down at your phone, yeah, you had a green light, but you could have stopped, you know? Or, you know, maybe the car came out of nowhere and FSD didn't see it, whatever. But, like, if that did happen, where the car got in an accident while FSD was on, it activated, you're looking down at your phone, that will... Can you imagine if that was in the headlines of the news? Like, people freak out when there's a software update item and they're calling it a massive recall and all of this. And it's like, no, it's just a software. All it is pushing a software update out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just a software update they're freaking out about. And that's actually adding features to our car. Can you imagine if it got in an accident because someone was looking down at their phone because Elon said, yeah, the system allows that now, and basically implying, like, go ahead and do it. Not good. Not good for that trust piece. Not good for the trust piece of people using FSD, and certainly not good for the trust piece of getting regulators to approve in the future autonomous driving, and just the public that maybe was looking at buying a Tesla because of FSD, and now it's like, oh, well, FSD is not that good. So I don't see that happening, but you can never say never, right? Like, there's just so many unknown situations that, I don't know, it would just be very bad, I think, if someone was looking at their phone, it was found out, and FSD was turned on during an accident, whether or not it was at fault. This tight squeeze, just FSD takes that flawlessly every time. I get so nervous driving through that manually, and I guess I'm complacent with it now, because at first I was up like this, looking at the hood of the car, trying to see what's going on, and now I'm like not even sweating it. I'm trusting that based on the past 20 times that it's done it perfectly, that it's going to do it again. So let me know what you guys think. How do you feel about this texting and driving? I'm looking at it more from a get things done in brief stints. Really the only thing in my life that I need to do, like, right now on my phone is update somebody from work about something. But even then, it's like, I'm driving, like, it can wait. So that was weird. I think it wanted that spot, but chose not to take it. Maybe the pole freaked it out. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a nice to have. I don't think it's a necessary thing. I do think it's important, though. It's monumental as a incremental push towards autonomous driving. So we selected this spot, but there's a Amazon Flex parking only sign there. It's done this about 3 or 4 times, it seems like. Can't really find a spot that it likes. Keeps going for a spot and then not taking it. Good job going down this aisle, because that's the only one we haven't gone down yet. FSD just needs to be more aggressive. It found a spot that first time. This person's like, what are you doing? Why are you stopping? So this is where, reasoning could come in. There's been cars that have been leaving. There's been cars that have been people walking to their cars, things like that. I'm looking forward to January to seeing, like, can the car realize, hey, this guy's leaving. Let me just wait here a second, let him pull out, and then take the spot. That'll be a big deal. Now, please take this spot. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a perfect spot. And it bailed again. All right, guys. So I think I'm just gonna end the video here. This is kind of how parking lots are sometimes. It just can't really find a spot that satisfies it. I'd say this is rare, maybe 1 out of 10 times, but that's where we're at with FSD. So let me know in the comments. Love to hear from you guys. Please go ahead and like the video if you like this. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Aloha.